Bringing people and communities together on seclosounds.org.
Your listening station.
Hi, I'm Terry Simon and welcome to this week's Sticks radio show here on Seclo Sounds. Hope you're well this bank holiday. Hope you've dried out from the monsoon early on in the week. That was a bit much, wasn't it? But never mind. Today on the show, I've got a gentleman not from the world of show business today. All singing. He's slightly different. He's from the world of sport. He's from the world of darts. His name is Richard Ashdown. We're talking to him in a little while. But first, let's play some music. I turned on the TV about a week ago and saw this gentleman. He's also been on my show. We played tracks from his album before it was released. This is a song out on the 11th of September. His name is Michael Armstrong, and this is his reworking of the classic Billy Joel song called Allentown.
Well, we're living here in Allentown, and they're closing all the factories down. Out in Bethlehem they're killing time, filling out forms, standing in line. Our fathers fought the Second World War, spent their weekends on the Jersey Shore, met our mothers in the USO, asked them to dance with them slow. And we're living here in Allentown, but the restlessness was handed down, and it's getting very hard to stay. Well, we're waiting here in Allentown for the Pennsylvania we never found, for the promises our teachers gave. If we worked hard, if we behaved. So the graduations hang on the wall, but they never really helped us at all. No, they never taught us what was real. Iron and coke, chromium steel. And we're waiting here in Allentown, but they've taken all the coal from the ground, and the union people crawled away. Child had a pretty good shot to get at least as far as their old man got. Something happened on the way to that place. They threw an American flag in our face. Hey, hey, hey. I'm living here in Allentown, and it's hard to keep a good man down, but I won't be getting up today. Yes, it's getting very hard to stay.
on the show I have, well, a slightly different guest, not one from show business or music, well, maybe show business. I have a gentleman called Richard Ashdown. He's he's an English darts master of ceremony. He's a caller, a spotter, a scorer, and a darts referee. How are you doing, Richard?
Hello there. Yeah, very well, thank you.
Jolly good. I mean, I've got to ask you about this. A darts referee, that must be quite an exciting job.
It really is. It's the dream job, to be honest.
A dream job?
If you can't play darts well enough, I think it's the next best thing.
Well, that must be my job then, because I'm terrible. 3 on the board is a bonus.
Well, I started out trying to become a dart player, but I think if you become a darts referee, ultimately you were a failed player at some point. But it's a great feeling to be up on stage and calling out the numbers. Love it.
Yeah, because, I mean, what's a spotter? What does a spotter do?
Well, spotting was the first job I had in darts. When you watch darts on the television, the camera's zooming in on the doubles and the trebles for the checkouts that the players need to get. The spotter is the person that tells the TV director and the cameraman where the player's going to throw.
So you have to really think quite quickly on your feet then.
Yeah, you have to think like a darts player, and specifically like the darts player that's throwing, because different players have different ways of throwing.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I love me darts. I must admit, I watch both camps, which we'll talk. And but yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I could do that. I mean, even though I'm sort of my maths is pretty good, but I sort of I get confused. So you say you're like you're like a second darts player. Does that mean you have a pint of beer in your hand as well?
Not at all.
No.
Not when we're working.
I'm joking. I'm only teasing.
Afterwards in the hotel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I bet you do. Yeah. Knowing some of the lads, I've had the great fortune of meeting up against some of them, or meeting up with some of them, and yes, they're an interesting crowd, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. But it really is the people's sport. That's what
I think. Well, it's the sort of sport. It's the sort of sport for a few quid you can play.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of sports, you have to, for instance, cricket, you have to go and buy a load of kit, and it costs you like £200 or £300. Skiing costs you a fortune. Tennis, a few quid. I mean, let's face it, you can go and buy a dartboard from, say, I don't know, one of these retail stores, go and buy a dartboard and a few darts, and they might not be the greatest quality, but you can actually play.
Yeah, and the other thing is, of course, it's played in such a small space.
Yeah, so you don't have to have...
Well, it does travel well. That's the great thing. A lot of the industry, for the players and the referees alike, is exhibition work, where you take the game to pubs and clubs, but also venues that you couldn't normally take a sport inside of. If you're a rower or a skier, as you've mentioned, you can't demonstrate your skills.
No.
In a village hall, can you?
No, and everybody can play to a certain, whether it's like me, poorly, or very well like Phil Taylor and a few of the other guys.
Yeah, it's something that we can all relate to, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think it's a great leveller. I think it's one of, and people say, oh, it's a game. No, it's a sport. It has a tremendous skill.
Oh, absolutely. The dedication of the top players.
Oh, yeah.
To any other sport or in any other field. It might not have the physical attributes, but it certainly has the application needed. The dedication that's needed, the mental approach that's needed.
Yeah.
And for a player like you mentioned, Phil Taylor, somebody like him who's been at the top of his sport for now over 25 years.
I know.
Can you imagine the hours that have gone into it? I don't think you could even calculate it.
No, just imagine the hours he spent playing it just on TV was is astronomical, really. 25 years. Oh dearie me. So you're a referee. What does a referee do? We've seen you on TV. We saw you recently in January on BBC One and BBC Two as well. I think it is.
Yeah.
Stood next to the board now.
Well, what do we do year round?
Well, yeah. What do you do? What does a referee do? During the game, basically.
Well, to actually referee the match, the bit that everyone's familiar with is the calling of the score.
Mm-hmm.
So part of our job, the main part of our job, is the announcing of whatever has been hit by the dart player. And that has two elements. One is purely for the crowd and the TV audience to know what's been hit. But more importantly, is to check that the score is correct.
Mm.
You are a referee like a referee in any other sport. You are officiating the game, so the call that the referee makes is the decided score. Yeah. Even if on countback there seems to be some error, the referee is the one in control of the game, just like any other sport.
Yeah.
Not that there are mistakes, of course. The referees that you'll see in both the BDO and the PDC are immaculately good at their job. That's why they do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed there's another guy who stands, I think, next to you he writes basically down on a piece of paper.
Yeah, there's two forms of one is on the computer screen, and they're just like a chalker. They sit just below the stage. So effectively, they're the chalker. They just do it via a laptop.
Okay.
Or you have the actual scribe, just like you would in a pub or club. That goes all the way into the World Championship final. You have the chalkers either side, one for each player usually. And that is the score. So if you call 100, they take the 100 off of 501 and write 401.
401. Buff. I mean, on a day of a tournament, what's your? Do you have like a routine?
No, I mean the key thing is, and people will be surprised to hear it from a referee's point of view. A lot of it is about it's a big pressure situation, especially in the major tournament, in the World Championship. We've just had it at the Lakeside, for example. It's a high pressure thing. It's very hot up there, and you know the cameras are on you. And you know that every call you make is important. But for a referee, downtime can be as important as the high. Do you know what I mean? A bit like a player, just getting yourself ready, making sure you're relaxed and focused. And you'll find that with a lot of darts officials, they just have a quiet time before the session begins. So you're feeling fresh and sharp when you go up on stage.
So you sort
ready for the task ahead.
So on the World Championship morning, you're in the hotel having a nice sauna, massage.
Some people do. That's not my policy, to be honest.
You don't.
What I tend to be doing, because my job is also as the master of ceremonies.
Yeah.
I have to be a bit of a statistician. So I have to do a lot of work beforehand in the actual introducing of the players. To make sure I give them a nice couple of lines when they come on stage of whatever their titles are or their current ranking and things like that. So for me, my preparation is often information. Okay,
because the darts has jazzed up quite a bit in the last few years. You got the big walk-ons with the music and the lights and the nicknames and all that business, which I think is good.
Me too.
I think it's great. I think it really engages with the fans, and I think the fans love it. I mean, they've all got little nicknames now, and I mean, I go back. I'm an old man, and I go back to as far as when Bristow was in his prime. John Lowe, Lazarenko, Jockey Wilson, and it is.
The guy that I began working with is Bobby George.
Oh well, he's a legend, isn't he?
Well, he's the one that really kick-started the walk-on.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he first did it, it looked a bit strange. Everybody used to just hear their name and come on without music.
Yeah.
And he asked for some music, and he carried some, a candelabra out onto the stage.
I remember it well.
Yeah, then the cloak came in, and now it's become odd if you don't do it.
Yeah, it does, doesn't
like
it?
The crowd, if you turn up and you're not in fancy dress, you look strange.
Yeah, I mean, Wolfie's a character, isn't he? I mean, everybody shout when he's on stage. They all howl, don't they, when he scores?
Yeah. There's a lot of players like that with their own little chorus.
It's a lovely. I think it's a great thing because it's a great way of engaging with the crowd because they sometimes.
Terry Dick is a walk-on. They nickname him the Bull. He's from Hereford. And
yes.
He'll use two darts as the horns. Everyone's got their own signature now.
He's an antique dealer as well, isn't he? I did found out about him recently, so I was quite shocked about that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is the two camps, isn't there? I mean, it was, going back a few years, there was one big organisation and then it split into two, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you say going back a few years, I mean, it was 21 years.
I know, well, it is a few years.
yeah.
I know, it's quite frightening, isn't it? And there's obviously the BDO and the PDF, the PDC. I can't even read my own writing. No, I wouldn't mind, I watch both of them.
Darts Corporation.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, I think darts has moved on. It's almost show business. I mentioned in the introduction, I normally have people from the world of show business, but I suppose loosely darts is show business, I suppose, to a certain amount.
Well, it is, and to be honest,
it's entertainment, isn't it?
It's not all bad with the politics. I think the politics has added a good flavour to darts because what you've got over the whole spread of it is darts is in very good hands.
Oh yeah.
Wherever you look, and that is a part of both the organisations that are involved.
Yeah. Well, there are.
The game is spreading. It's just incomprehensible what's happened over the last few years. You would never thought that would happen. The popularity not only around the UK but around the world. And that has been, both sides have been involved in that push and that climb forward, and we're in good hands, I think.
Well, I mean, yeah, because you have the top 32 players of each organisation. Well, there's 64 now top players, if you like to put it that way. If there was only one group, there'd only be 32 top players.
Well, people said that early on with the two World Championships, because immediately you doubled the amount of people that were on television.
Yeah.
And you're probably right. There are more names in that. But the thing is,
it's good.
Like a lot of sports, it's just so much more competitive now anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
use a phrase, he's a top 16 player, but there's